Good morning, comrades. It is Wednesday, 24th of March, 2021. This is your daily Good Morning, Comrade. How is everybody doing today? Feeling very kind of mellowed out. Just kind of keeping it chill this morning. How about y'all? Let me turn the banner on. We'll see if people show up in here in just a minute. But yeah, it is a beautiful day of rain. It's just been like storming for the past, I don't know, 18 hours or something like that. Got my Covfefe. I love that Covfefe. It's delicious. Can't get enough of it. I got a couple of stories to get into today, but let's hold off for a minute. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody enjoyed yesterday's episode. It was a pre-record because I had work yesterday, but also I was able to get an interview with a buddy of mine, Daniel, who is with the Democratic Socialist Labor Commission. He is a member of DSA, much like I am, and we talked about the PRO Act, which we talk about that a lot on this show. It's good stuff. Good morning, G Wolf. You already time to make coffee? I've got my coffee already, baby. Look at that, got that coffee. Yummy, yummy. It's delicious. But yeah, we had Daniel on yesterday. We talked about the PRO Act. We talked about Amazon workers, and I got more stuff on Amazon. We alluded to some of the story, but I guess I'll just kind of give it a little gloss over before I get into it. There's an Amazon worker strike in Italy because they have brutal working conditions there. We're going to be talking about that today. And also some of the workers who are organizing a union at Amazon. Yeah, we're going in on Amazon today, folks. But this is back in early COVID days, about a year ago. Workers were illegally interrogated because he led. This is one particular worker. He led COVID-19 strikes, and the NLRB has ruled that he was illegally interrogated by Amazon. So yeah, that's not good. We're gonna read that today, and hopefully some more. But yeah. What else? Oh, I see Karl Marx is trending in the U.S. That's interesting. Why is Karl Marx trending in the U.S.? I see Karl Marx and Hannah Montana are trending at the same time. Come to think of it, have we ever seen those two in the same room? Huh? That's a good question. Hey, I love when people bring this picture up. I don't know why, but it's very funny to me when people do the Britney Spears in the long line of state leader communists. I don't know why that's very funny to me, but it is. Let's see. Why is Karl Marx trending in the U.S.? Is this today some kind of a thing that I should know? Wow, Karl Marx does look like a cute puppy. That is cute. That is bullshit right there. All right. Let's get into our stories today. Hope G Wolf gets his coffee. So let's start with the Amazon workers in Italy. Mamma mia. It's not like the American, the Gabagool Italian. This is the Mamma Mia Mario Italians. All right. Amazon workers in Italy are striking in protest of grueling working conditions. Warehouse workers and delivery drivers are striking in Italy, marking one of the biggest actions of its kind in Europe. And you can see right here on the box, if you're watching, Strike hard, have fun, make history is sort of like the line that I picked up. Love to see it. Amazon warehouse workers and delivery drivers in Italy began a 24-hour strike Monday, the largest action of its kind for the retail giant in the country. The strike comes after negotiations over reduced working hours, collective shift bargaining, and meal vouchers broke down between Amazon and the national labor unit Filt, Sigel, Fit, Sizzle, Ultrasporti. I don't know what any of that is. So that's the unions, I suppose. The unions were negotiating what these working conditions should be, and Amazon said no. So they're like, "Well, screw you. We're out of here. We're going on strike." Unions say that 75% of workers are participating in the strike. That's decently high. Amazon disputed this claim, saying that only 10% of its 9,500 direct employees in Italy participated in the strike, and 20% of its 15,000 delivery drivers who were employed via delivery service providers. Amazon said that the strike had no impact on deliveries. Sounds like some propaganda. Wow, I didn't know that communism killed. What is that? One with 10 zeros people. That's a lot of people, man. Karl Marx killed that many people personally by hand. Good morning, Jimmy 20. Driven by increased online delivery demands during the pandemic, Amazon logistics workers have reported grueling hours, lasting physical pain and injuries, as well as mental health issues. These complaints are far from limited to Italy or even Europe, within Amazon workers in the United States reporting similarly brutal working conditions. So what are the hours? I guess they'll get into it. But I mean, yeah, that is similar to what is happening in Bessemer, Alabama, and also many other places. Quote, "This is the first strike of an Amazon supply chain in Italy, and certainly in Europe. It's also an initiative that has no parallel even in the United States," Michel DeRose, national security of Filt Sigel, one of the unions behind the strike, wrote in a statement. "This American multinational must take note that the trade union is part of the history of our country and that it must deal with workers' representatives in compliance with the system of established trade unions, relations, protections, and rules." Hell yeah. I mean, that's actually really good language, because it's not like radical language. It's actually extremely normal language. It says like, "Hey, don't these Americans know that we have unions here in Italy?" Which is very funny. Don't you realize that we have like rules here that protect workers, not like you do in the US, you dummies. Citing the unions, Italian newspaper La Repubblica reported that the strike had registered 75% participation from workers. In a statement, the motherboard, an Amazon spokesman, rebuffed the union's concerns and claimed that, in fact, treats its Italian workforce quite well. Oh yeah, I know. Like the workers are saying that we're treating them bad, but we actually treat them good. The workers are full of crap. The fact is, Amazon and our Italian network of independent delivery service providers already offer what these groups are asking for: excellent pay, excellent benefits, and excellent opportunities for career growth, all while working in a safe, modern, and work environment. How do you know that it's a safe, modern, and work environment? We just said it was. We just told you in a statement. Now, all that evidence, all those stories coming from workers saying that that it's not safe, it's not a modern working environment, and that we don't pay great. That's all not true. We just said it in a statement. The spokesperson wrote, quote, "The unions know this. We thank the thousands of employees and drivers of our independent delivery partners in Italy who came to work today to ensure customers received their orders on time." The strike comes on as Amazon warehouse workers in Bessemer, Alabama, make their final push towards unionizing, a potential landmark victory for labor rights. Okay. I wanted to see what the reports say. Hopefully, it's not just in Italian. Nope, it's just in Italian. Mamma mia. I could get Google Translate in here, but I think that might make things worse. Anybody read Italian? Anybody in chat read Italian? Oh boy. Oh well. Well, that was a good start, Amazon. And let's follow it with a second punch combination to Amazon. Amazon illegally interrogated workers who led the first COVID-19 strikes, NLRB says. What? Amazon doing union busting? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The state of New York is also suing Amazon for alleged health and safety violations at the same Queens warehouse where workers led the first COVID-19 related walkouts. So let's read. That's the Amazon facility. In March 2020, the first COVID-19 cases at an Amazon warehouse in the United States were reported at a delivery depot in Queens. At the time, new Amazon warehouse workers at the facility staged 2 walkouts in protest of Amazon's handling of the outbreak, kicking off a wave of COVID-19 related protests and strikes at Amazon facilities across the U.S. I remember this being huge news at the time. Like, COVID had just started. Everybody was like, everybody who could, people who weren't deemed essential workers, who could lock down, ended up locking down. And from there, Amazon, there was a lot of people ordering from Amazon. So you speak 2 languages. English is Southern English, but not Italian. Oh, boy. Only word I know in Italian is gabagool. Is that anti-Italian discrimination? I don't think it is. Let's see here. Yeah, so as I was saying, there was a little bit of action from Amazon, and we'll see. We're going to get into it. The National Labor Relations Board investigation has now found that Amazon illegally interrogated and threatened Jonathan Bailey, a lead organizer of the Queens Amazon walkouts, and has issued a federal complaint against Amazon, according to official NLRB documents obtained by Motherboard. Jonathan Bailey, if that's the guy that I remember correctly, Amazon smeared this dude. Like, they made him seem like he was, like, they tried to make him seem like he was like a bad worker. He wouldn't show up and all these other things when he was doing just as fine as everybody else, just organizing a union on the job. That's the crime that he did. That's the thing that he did bad that got them pissed at him, and I believe they fired him. The case was settled before it went to trial, but the issuing of the complaint means that an NLRB investigation found Amazon broke the law. Quote, Amazon did its best to keep everybody working while simultaneously crushing our efforts to fight back, said Bailey, who was interrogated and written up by Amazon management after leading the walkout in a Queens facility on March 20th, 2020, according to his NLRB testimony and the federal complaint. On March 18th, Amazon warehouse workers shut down the Queens facility after one of their workers tested positive for COVID-19. Yeah, you don't want to be working by somebody who's got COVID. You want to shut it down so that you can, because you might have been exposed to this person. You want to make sure that you're safe. The first Amazon warehouse worker reporting a positive case in the United States. 2 days later, on March 20th, Bailey led a second walkout with 13 workers. It was planned during a lunch break after Amazon sent a second worker home sick, but did not close the warehouse. So, I mean, these guys and gals and non-binary pals are doing what they need to do to protect themselves so they don't get the virus that's killing so many people. On March 18th, I read that part. The following day, a regional manager who introduced himself as a former FBI agent pulled a former FBI agent. You getting feds in here, Amazon? A former FBI agent pulled Bailey aside into management's offices and interrogated Bailey about his role in the walkout, told him his behavior might be harassment, and demanded Bailey contact him before any future walkout. Yeah, you got to tell your boss if you're going to walk out. That's the move that you have to do. That's just the rules. You just got to tell the boss if you're going to walk out. If you're going to act against your boss, you got to tell your boss. That's just what it is. They said it might be harassment. Oh, you're harassing Amazon by walking out, by not showing up on your shift. You're actually harassing us. This is corporate harassment. It's using like very, very like HR language. And demanded Bailey contact him before any walkouts, according to Bailey's NLRB testimony. Quote, he interrogated me for an hour and a half, Bailey told Motherboard. A week later, I was called into the office again, and they wrote me up for harassment, saying people felt hurt by what I did. Oh, they're trying. Oh, interesting. So he's doing organizing, and Amazon is saying you're hurting other workers by doing that, and we're worried about them, not the fact. Ooh. Motherboard obtained an audio recording of that meeting. Well, where the fuck is it? Where is it? Motherboard also obtained a copy of an NLRB settlement agreement dated March 3rd, 2021, that requires Amazon to post information about workers' rights to organize at the entrances to break rooms, including, quote, we will not ask you whether or not you support employee walkouts or about any other protected concerted activities. Motherboard reached out to the national NLRB attorney on the case for comment, and they directed us to public information about the case on the NLRB's website. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. Oh, we got Antifa in chat. Existing kudos system of screwing people over and outsourcing work that exists in Silicon Valley and technology needs to end. These Amazon managers get kudos for busting unions. Yeah, they do. There's more. While we disagree with allegations made in the case, we are pleased to put this matter behind us, Leah Say, a spokesman. So they're basically saying that these are all lies, but we're just getting this over with. None of this happened. We're just paying them off or whatever. We're saying that we did it so we can get it behind us. The health and safety of our workers is our top priority, and we are proud to provide inclusive environments where employees can excel without fear of retaliation, intimidation, or harassment. So, again, that's implying that Jonathan Bailey is doing the harassment and not Amazon, who's forcing the workers at the facility to work with people that when they might have been exposed to COVID-19 or when people were sent home with COVID-19. And this is in I think it was in March of a year ago. I might be off on my months, but this is early on in COVID. Amazon, this is another quote. I'm not exact. Amazon fabricated false and unjust disciplinary measures to build bogus cases against workers leading the fight to be treated as more than grist in Amazon's profit mill, Amazonians United New York City told Motherboard in a statement. We thank the NLRB for putting in countless hours and validated what we already knew to be true. Ultimately, it is our solidarity that protects us and will win us a better world. So those are the good guys. The news coincides with heightened scrutiny on Amazon's anti-union practices as the company begins to campaigns to defeat, hopefully they don't defeat them, a historic election at its Bessemer, Alabama warehouse. We've been talking about that extensively, where workers could form the first Amazon union in the United States where the votes are counted on March 30th. It comes in the midst of a high-profile lawsuit in New York focused on the Queens Amazon warehouse. In February, New York's Attorney General sued Amazon, arguing that the company, quote, failed to comply with requirements for cleaning and disinfection and retaliated against workers who raised concerns about health and safety conditions at the Queens warehouse and another Amazon facility in Staten Island. So it's everywhere. Documents obtained by Motherboard show the NLRB found that management at Amazon's Queens Delivery Depot violated workers' right to engage in labor organizing activity on 4 accounts in March 2020. Yeah, it's March, like I said. Amazon's management told employees not to organize in collective activity without first notifying them, threatened discipline to workers who spoke to employees about walkout, and, quote, interrogated employees about their participation in the walkout, according to federal complaint. You can't grill somebody about a walkout that happened. It's just not. It's like they're hiring the feds to just shake people down. Like literally, they're hiring feds to shake people down. Like ex-feds, like they used to be FBI, and they're coming to work for Amazon. Under the 1935 National Labor Relations Act, it is illegal for employers to retaliate against workers who organize to form unions or who engage in collective action to improve their working conditions. So if you on your work site do a walkout with other workers, they're not supposed to be able to retaliate against you. Now, does it happen? Yes. However, technically they're not supposed to, and you got to fight that out. The board dismissed 3 other allegations related to labor organizing. Last year, Motherboard published leaked handouts and communications from the Queens warehouse that showed the company was ill prepared to respond to the early COVID-19 cases and implement safety protocols despite having a comprehensive global security team that identifies threats to the company. So they put like tons of resources in saying, well, this could be a problem for Amazon. This could be a problem for Amazon. This could be a problem for Amazon. COVID-19 wasn't on that list. Documents show that Amazon failed to comply with New York City paid sick leave laws, resulting in Amazonians United New York City, the group of workers who led the walkouts, said were wrongful terminations. Managers also used grainy video surveillance footage to conduct contact tracing, often struggling to identify workers. Oh, man. So here's the thing with the contact tracing. Like, they need to be as like broad as possible in that. Like if you might have been in contact with somebody for that had COVID or whatever, you should probably, if there's any question about it, or if there's any like reasonable question about it, you should just default to sending people home, because you don't want this to spread. You don't want these people to get sick, and you don't want them to spread it to their families, and the people that spread it to they spread it to their families, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that was just like, and the reason that you have sick leave is so that when these people do need to take that time off, they don't starve for it. You don't starve for showing, like, for stopping a pandemic. I mean, it would be common sense, but these people like are much more worried about getting that box to your house, with the crap in it. The warehouse was so short on supplies that managers went to 7-Eleven and Costco to buy out entire stocks of hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, disinfectant, and water for workers experiencing heat stress. Amazon also passed out talking points to managers that explained how to discuss organizing at their facility, which noted that the company would protect workers from, quote, retaliation from Amazonians United New York City. Oh, we're not doing the retaliation. The boss isn't the one that's doing the retaliation. It's the union that's doing the retaliation. Classic, like, turnaround. In late 2019, Bailey, a sortation associate, began meeting with his Amazonian coworkers at a Lutheran church in his apartment in Queens to discuss concerns related to Amazon's failure to comply with New York paid sick leave laws, according to Bailey's testimony provided to the NLRB. But in March 2020, those concerns escalated into demands related to COVID-19 protections. Yeah, Amazon had to go to 7-Eleven and Costco to buy stuff. Like, Amazon, where all the stuff comes from, didn't have enough hand sanitizer and soap and water for people. Incredible. Clorox wipes. They didn't have Clorox wipes. Using the name Amazon's United NYC, the group wrote a petition eventually signed by more than 5,000 Amazon warehouse workers worldwide, where they demanded that Amazon stop shipment on all non-essential items and provide paid sick leave to all its employees at a time when COVID-19 tests were still scarce. As the pandemic unfolds, this is quotes, the demand for home delivery is increasing, leading to near peak level volume across the network, they wrote. We must ensure that we are adequately protected. So they know that this is like an opportunity to make an assload of money for Jeff Bezos. And indeed, Jeff Bezos' wealth, Jeff Bezos wealth, COVID. Yeah, wealth increase of 10 men during COVID. Could buy. Okay. Jeff Bezos. All right. The inflated wealth of men like Jeff Bezos, whose giant fortunes are driven by the value of holdings such as property and shares they own rather than wages. The report said that Bezos' worth had climbed so much between September 2020 that he could have given all 876,000 Amazon employees a $105,000 bonus and still have been as wealthy as he was before the pandemic. So every single person that works for Amazon would essentially could be given $105,000 over the past year, and it would not have cost the richest man in the world a nickel. That's insanity. I don't know if I'm necessarily in favor of breaking up the big corporations. I'm more interested in like taking the functions of something like Amazon and like incorporating that into like a new postal service and making that like a nationalized program. But I'm not like 100% on that. I think that like what Amazon does like is something that shouldn't be profited on. It should just be something that we have, essentially. And people who do that work should get paid well for it, and they should have great working conditions. This isn't the first time the NLRB found evidence of Amazon violating workers' rights to organize free from retaliation. Last week, The Intercept reported that NLRB notified Amazon workers in Chicago who organized under the name Amazonians United Chicagoland and for COVID-19 related strikes in April 2020 that Amazon had illegally retaliated against them for protesting. In December, Motherboard reported that the NLRB found that Amazon had illegally fired a Staten Island Amazon warehouse worker who led a protest outside the warehouse on his day off in March 2020. Since 2019, Amazonians United groups have also formed Sacramento and Chicago, though they haven't received formal recognition. They consider themselves a union along with the workers at the Queens facility. So there's organizing happening at Amazon like across the country. The Alabama one is the first one that's really kind of gone live. But yeah, Amazon definitely treats its workers poorly. Lauren Kaori Gurley has done a lot of fantastic reporting on this, by the way. She works for Vice for Motherboard. And I mean, maybe I should reach out to her about coming on the show. I'm usually quite shameless in reaching out to people, so maybe I should just like cold DM her or something. Or if anybody knows her, definitely like send her my way. Oh, I did see this one. All right, we're doing more Amazon. This is like Amazon overload day. Sorry, guys. If y'all don't want to talk about Amazon, bad news for you today. Amazon delivery drivers forced to sign biometric consent form or lose job. What? The new cameras, which are being implemented nationwide, use artificial intelligence to access drivers' locations, movement, and biometric data. If you're like, essentially, you must like This is like you must be targeted with your own internal like biometric data by us. We must be able to track you at all times, or you're fired. Incredible. Amazon's a big part of your life, so it's quite pertinent. Amazon's a big part of everybody's life, whether they order from Amazon or not. Like somebody that along the supply chain of any place that they get anything, like you cannot be. This is the thing that you kind of like can't wash your hands of this either. Like there's no like exoneration of it. Like you're just everybody interacts with Amazon stuff all the time. Period. You can't not do that. It's not possible in this society. You can try and you can say like, wow, that makes me feel good about myself or whatever, but like it doesn't really matter. Is it legal? I mean, if they sign a contract, is it not legal? And if they're independent contractors, how about that? I mean, it should be illegal, obviously, Jenny. I'm being a jerk. That was libertarian Jeff. He talks like that. Anyway, Amazon delivery drivers nationwide have to sign a biometric consent form this week that grants the tech behemoth permission to use AI-powered cameras to access drivers' location, movement, and biometric data. What? If the company's delivery drivers, who number around 75,000 in the United States, refuse to sign these forms, they lose their jobs. The form requires drivers to agree to facial recognition and other biometric data collection within the trucks that they drive. Here's a quote from the thing. Amazon may use certain technology that processes biometric information, including onboard safety camera technology, with collects your photograph for purposes of confirming your identity and connecting to your driver account, the form reads. Using your photograph, this technology may create biometric information and collect, store, and use biometric information from such photographs. What? It adds that this technology tracks vehicle location and movement, including miles driven, speed, acceleration, braking, turns, and following distance. As a condition of delivery packages for Amazon, you consent to the use of this technology. So just by having this job, you're saying that, yes, this is like that thing that the end user license agreement that you have, like anytime you download any software or like anything, like they just want them to click agree, but this is what it says in it. We can track you. We can like use anything from your biometric data, and we're going to be watching everything you do. Like that is some big brother stuff right there. In February, Amazon announced plans to install AI-powered 4-lens cameras made by the tech company Nitrodyne in all of its Amazon-branded delivery vans. The company says cameras are being used to improve, quote, safety and, quote, the quality of the delivery experience. But as Thomson Reuters pointed out earlier this month, some drivers are quitting their jobs because of privacy concerns. The Nitrodyne cameras are able to sense when a driver yawns, appears distracted, or isn't wearing a seatbelt, according to a product description, and monitors drivers' body and facial movements. What the fuck? They're worried about Who's worried about government tracking now? The government. That's really tyrannical of the government, isn't it? Think of all the people that will sign it without even looking at what it says. I mean, I think the fact that it's getting pressed means that some people will sign it without looking at it, but more people will know about it now. Soon, Amazon will require anal recognition software hosted on Amazon Web Services monitored by yikes. Yikes. That's a big yikes. Probably true, though. Here's the text of the agreement. Or at least part of the text. Yeah, let's read it. Let's read it. Big Brother Bezos is watching your butthole, buddy. At Amazon, we are continuously I almost feel like we need like music. Hold on. At Amazon. Is that too loud? Vehicle technology and biometric consent. At Amazon, we are continuously evaluating technologies that make it easier for drivers, referred to in this consent as delivery associates, to deliver packages safely and securely as we improve the quality of delivery experience for delivery associates and customers. The vehicles you operate while making deliveries may come equipped with technology such as telematics devices that collect GPS and navigation-related information, cameras with video and photograph capabilities, and sensors, in patterns, the technology. The vehicles are video monitored by cameras that are both internal and external and that operate while the ignition is on and for up to 20 minutes after the ignition is turned off. With certain technology, you may have the ability to deactivate a camera more quickly after the ignition is turned off and can do so by following the instructions available from your employer. The technology also tracks vehicle location and movement, including miles driven, speed, acceleration, braking, turns, and following distance. This technology allows Amazon, its affiliates, technology providers and contractors, and your employer to gather information that helps Amazon and your employer improve the safety and quality of the delivery experience and to protect delivery associates, including to alert them when driving distractions are presented. You can find additional information regarding the collection, use, storage, and retention of the information collected by the technology in the privacy policy for vehicle camera technology, which you can always access by copying and pasting the following link into your preferred browser, or by requesting a copy from your employer. Amazon may also use certain technology that processes biometric information, including onboard safety camera technology, which collects your photograph for the purpose of confirming your identity and connecting you to your driver account. Using your photograph, this technology may create biometric information and collect, store, and use biometric data from such photographs. Using this technology, Amazon generally retains a user's biometric information only for as long as it takes to complete the verification of your identity and associating the technology to your driver account, but may retain your identity and it gets cut off. As a condition of delivering Amazon packages, you consent to the use of the technology and collection of data and information from the technology by Amazon, its affiliates, technology providers, and contractors, and your employer as described here, which you can always access by copying and pasting, blah, 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 blah. So that's Amazon. That's the license agreement, just saying that you just give it all up. You give it up. You give me that information. I'm learning how to be creepy from Andrea. I already knew how to be creepy. A lot of people are struggling out there. They'll probably get enough. Yeah, they probably will get enough drivers, honestly. They replace the ones that quit with people who are more desperate. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of if you make people desperate enough, so many people don't have jobs that, people who don't have a job are likely to step up and take this job, despite the fact that they have all this crap. I mean, and plus the people that are, put to the question of whether or not they sign this also need the job that they have. I mean, it's not easy to change jobs. Technically, these drivers aren't even employed by Amazon, but roughly 800 companies known as delivery service partners that operate out of Amazon delivery stations. Still, Amazon controls many aspects of its drivers' working conditions, from their training to their uniforms to their delivery quota. So apparently they work for a subcontractor, like they're the employees of a subcontractor. I had one driver who refused to sign, the owner of an Amazon delivery company in the Pacific Northwest told Motherboard. Motherboard granted the business owner an anonymity because they feared retaliation from Amazon. Quote, it's a heartbreaking conversation when someone tells you that you're their favorite person they've ever worked for, but Amazon just micromanages them too much. So even the small business tyrant is trying to get some sympathy on this. I care about workers at my facility. I mean, he kind of has to say that, I guess. The policy has already received scrutiny from Congress. Last month, 5 senators raised concern about drivers' privacy in a letter to Amazon. What 5 senators? I wonder. Amazon didn't immediately respond to a request for comment, but told Reuters investing in safety are operations and recently started rolling out industry-leading camera-based safety technology across our delivery fleet. This technology will provide riders real-time alerts to help. We're helping the workers, folks. We're helping them stay safe while they're on the road. That's all we care about at Amazon. We want this. We care about the workers being safe. Which senators here wrote the letter? 5 senators wrote the letter. Okay. Who? Calling on Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos to provide more information on the company's recent deployment of surveillance cameras. A letter. Okay. Ed Markey, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, and Richard Blumenthal. Okay. All right. It's wild that there's only 5 senators, but you know, there's no lower form of Earth. Yeah, Warren's decent on these things. There's no lower form of life on Earth than a U.S. senator, as I always say. But yeah, those are 5 decent ones at least. Yeah, Ed Markey's usually pretty good for worker stuff. Warren's pretty good on that kind of stuff. Bernie's always there. I mean, Warren's always kind of there to like break up. She always is like break up the monopolies. That's her thing. And you know, I'm not really in the same place. I want to like nationalize the monopolies. But you know, I'm not going to complain about that kind of a good position by her for sure. So yeah. That was a lot of Amazon stories, y'all. Do you really have to say Bernie? Really? I mean, like, I would like to be correct in my fact. I was fairly confident that Bernie would be on the list for sure, but I didn't want to like. It was a safe bet. What other news we got today? Oh, I did want to talk about this. It's another COVID thing. Sorry for all the COVID stuff. Sorry, not sorry. But there was an article in Common Dream. This is from a couple of days ago. And teachers unions want more details on the new CDC guidance of desks only 3 feet apart. I will read this one, and this will probably be it for me for the day. So kids in school. So recently, for a long time, for basically as long as I could remember, within COVID at least, the rules were that you were supposed to be 6 feet apart, and that's what social distancing was. That was like the guidelines. And then recently, probably within the last week or so, they changed it and moved it to 3 feet. And a lot of people are asking, why is this happening? Because, I mean, we're right in the middle of, distributing the vaccine. We want to sort of like just hold on tight, ride it out instead of doing the like YOLO, epic, let's just, open everything back up again approach that's going to get more people killed. So let's read on. With the U.S. death toll from the ongoing coronavirus pandemic topping 541,000 people. Holy moly, that's a lot of people. The nation's two largest teachers' unions responded cautiously on Friday to new guidance from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, revising its recommendation for physical distancing between K-12 students in classrooms who are all wearing face masks down from 6 feet to just 3 feet based on recent research. Quote, while we hope the CDC is right and these new studies convince the community that the most enduring safety standard of this pandemic, the 6-foot rule, can be jettisoned if we all wear masks, said AFT President Randy Weingarten. We will reserve judgment until we review them, especially as they apply in districts with high community spread and older buildings with ventilation challenges. Reserve judgment? That's kind of weak language there, Randy. Come on. And here's from the NEA president. So there's two major teachers unions in the United States, educators unions. There's the AFT, which is the president is Randy Weingarten, and there's the NEA, National Education Association, National Educators Association. Excuse me to all the NEA brothers and sisters out there. And that's the president right now is Becky Pringle, and they operate somewhat in concert with one another, but there's sometimes differences. Here's what Becky says from NEA. We are concerned that the CDC has changed one of the basic rules for how to ensure school safety without demonstrating certainty that the change is justified by the science and can be implemented in a manner that does not detract from larger long-term needs of students. That's a better statement, I think. It's saying we're concerned about this. This is like, while what Randy said at AFT is like, we hope they're right. We're going to look into it. But okay. Like, this is actually like, hey, what's going on here? NEA, National Education Association President Becky Pringle said that for the sake of public trust and clarity, we urge the CDC to provide far more detail about the rationale for the change from 6 feet to 3 feet for students in classrooms, clearly and publicly account for differences in types of school environments, new virus variants, differences in mitigation compliance, and how study participants were tested for the virus. We are concerned that the CDC has changed one of the basic rules for how to ensure school safety without demonstrating certainty that the change is justified by the science and can be implemented in a manner that does not detract from the larger long-term needs of students, Pringle explained. Yes, exactly. I don't want to watch Randy on CNN, do I? Yeah, let's look at it.
Joining me right now for more on this is Dr. Lena Wen, CNN medical analyst and
former Randy
Health Commissioner, and Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, the second largest teachers union in the country. Randy, I'll start with you. You have been critical of the talk of this move coming. What do you think now as this announcement's come out?
So we're reserving judgment, Kate, because we have to see the studies. The study that was out. So the study that was out.
Sorry. You're reserving judgment when the guidelines are coming out because you haven't seen the studies. How do you go back once they've changed the guidelines? Then they release the studies. Does that mean that if you're reserving judgment, like if you don't know what the implications are, you cannot be, you can't be sort of like wishy-washy about it. Like, it just puts way too much trust in the CDC, which, I mean, under Trump, just destroyed public trust. Destroyed it. Sorry, I'm being really critical of Randy here, but I did not see anything about the refugee camp, the fire in the refugee camp. Send me a link on Discord, and I will read it.
It's from Massachusetts. Dr. Osterholm basically said was not ready for prime time, and I've been listening all day to the experts you've had on, and Dr. Wen obviously will talk about this too. That the issue is that this is being driven
Yeah, I'll
by
read that
space
tomorrow.
concerns, not by safety concerns. And when that happens, we have to see what it means. And frankly,
I just think Randy's approach is extremely wishy-washy here. Like, she's saying that we don't know what it means. We don't know. I don't know what's going on here. When, like, again, every step of the way, policy has been given to us without science to back it up. And, even and if the science is or isn't there, it doesn't really matter at the point. The policy's changing. So, sorry, show me the work first. You can't really drop it in chat. You can't drop links in chat on YouTube. Drop it in Discord. Here, let me drop Discord on here real quick. I wonder what the doctor
so
says,
many of the
though.
places that I represent, meaning urban places,
And I will
that
cover it
just now
tomorrow.
recently reopened, because they don't have great ventilation, the de-densification of classrooms was really important. If you had, a lot of, bodies in a room, and so the CDC is saying that all these other mitigation factors have to stay there, including good ventilation, which 40% of the schools don't have, including mask wearing, which Texas and Florida and others are not doing. And so,
Yeah, one of my problems with Randy specifically, like, in how she operates, and I'm not like trying to like attack her, impugn her character or whatever. Like, she's the leader of AFT, which is my union, but like she does kind of walk these kind of lawyerly lines. She's obviously like very, very bright about these kinds of things, but she doesn't really take a hard stand, and she's very, very easily swayed by Democrats.
The teachers are being vaccinated. That's really good, but I worry with the new variants what's going to happen in terms of transmissibility with kids and with their families. So we got to read the studies. We got to see what it really means. And I just hope this is not a rush to put in twice as many deaths in a place where we're really starting to get things reopened.
I'm surprised to hear you think that this is a rush, though, Randy. Let me get to that in a second. Let me bring in Dr. Wen on this. Where is the science on this, Dr. Wen? Because the CDC very clearly says they don't move until there is the science.
Who is this reporter? Like, she's basically saying like the CDC is right and shut up, Randy. Wow, that's pretty brutal.
To suggest it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm actually surprised by the CDC guidelines. So here's what I'm not surprised by. I'm not surprised by the move from 6 feet to 3 feet in general, because I do think it's important to do that if we have any chance of having our schools being fully reopened for in-person instruction. So I think the goal of doing this is really important. I was expecting, though, for the CDC to say, if you want to move from 6 feet to 3 feet, you also need to have additional mitigation measures in place. As in, if we see physical distancing as one layer, if we're peeling away that one layer, you also need to put in other layers. For example, twice weekly testing, or making sure that they're...
Which they would never do twice weekly testing. Like, they don't test anybody in my district. Like, in order to get a test through the district, you need to jump through every single hoop that there possibly is. Like, we've actually talked about this a lot in one of the groups that I'm in with other educators. It is nigh impossible to get a test without having to pay a copay.
Are that there is improved ventilation, as Randy was saying.
Ventilation not even addressed locally. When the ventilation question came up in somewhere like Philadelphia, they were essentially just using box fans, which is not good. Schools are not in the condition that you can safely have them open during COVID right now still.
I would also hope that they would put vaccinations in this as an additional layer, making sure
Yeah.
that the teachers who are in schools with 3 feet distancing have the opportunity to be vaccinated, for example. So just saying that they want to move from 6 feet to 3 feet, I'm not sure that the data are sufficient to say that this is safe, especially considering the variants that we now have that are more contagious. And so I would hope that the CDC also addresses these additional layers that need to be in place too.
No, Dr. Wen, I'm just looking down because I'm just looking at some of the information that has come out from the CDC guidelines, as Sanjay was laying out. That does talk about other mitigation layers being in place. It does, the guidance is talking about the masking needed and ventilation.
You already needed masking.
Being needed. And we've already heard about a prioritization of vaccine masking needed and ventilation being needed.
Yeah, you needed masking the entire time, and ventilation didn't happen.
And we've already heard about a prioritization of vaccines. That's
who is this anchor?
Been like where the whole conversation of reopening schools was before this. But you do think on the most basic level that the science is there to move from 6 feet to 3 feet, right, Dr. Wen?
I think the science is there if these additional requirements are also put into place. And so if we...
Yeah, so like, I don't know what she's doing or what she's saying, but like, she's assuming that all of the measures, like Randy just said a minute ago, Texas and Florida aren't even requiring masks. It's almost like a personal decision question. So like, you can't just say 6 feet to 3 feet. So no.
Say that we're going to eliminate this physical distancing guideline. We also must have regular surveillance testing, and we need to have this particular checklist for what improved ventilation is going to look like.
Yeah, so if you don't do these things, then you can't go from 6 feet to 3 feet.
I think that's the part that's missing, because I mean, I do have a concern. There are a lot of teachers, a lot of parents who still don't feel safe in school. And if we are going to make the move to increase the density even further in schools, we need to give them some more reassurance.
And the reassurance, though, is in hearing a clear message from the CDC.
No. The CDC has been so full of shit this entire pandemic that you need to. They're not granted any goodwill. They're not granted anything. Not under Biden, not under Trump. I mean, maybe it would have been different if Trump hadn't destroyed that trust. But most people don't think about that during Republicans and Democrats. You know, no, it doesn't work that way. Building public trust does not work that way.
From public health officials, seeing and hearing the science behind it. Randy, I'd seen you touched on this just a second. You touched on this in just a second ago, but you also told the New York Times that you think the CDC is under a lot of outside pressure in order to change this guidance. I was really struck by that wording, Randy. Do you think the CDC is not following the science here? You think they're actually...
Who is this anchor? Like, she thinks that the CDC is not a political entity and has never been used politically. Like, what?
Bending to outside pressure to do this?
Could you believe a government organization would bend to outside pressure under any circumstances?
Look, I think there's a lot of outside pressure for good reason to get our kids back into school.
For good reason, okay.
I'm not saying that pressure is wrong. We all, as you know, Kate, the AFT has been trying to figure out how to get kids back into school since last April, almost a year ago. I think what's happened is you have
I hate that positioning. I hate that orientation. Like, she's saying that AFT has been trying to get kids to go back to school for a year now. But like, okay, so if the AFT's position is to get schools open as like the top line, and in parentheses, when they're safe, then what people are going to hear is the top line. Like, that is such a like weaselly political position to put yourself in, or like weaselly political messaging.
The schools people who think about what this means and how this is going to work, and you have the health people who are basically saying that that this will allow twice as many deaths in a classroom, and the context here is what's missing. That's why
Randy is making this so much more complicated than it needs to be. So much more complicated.
we said when we saw the CDC, we were briefed last night, and we said today we will reserve judgment. I do believe that this new CDC really wants to speak about the science. They have a lot of integrity. I'm not suggesting that they don't, but there is a lot of pressure about the space issues. And my frustration is that there's so much extra space in so many places and communities. We should be using that space now and just really assuring everyone.
What are you talking
that
about?
As we that as we reopen in person, that the joy of that reopening is not mitigated by concern about safety.
Well, you've said all along, you need to meet fear with facts. And that's what I'm trying to understand is what are the facts, Randy, that you think what are the facts that you want to see that would get you to a place?
The CDC hasn't given us facts. They haven't given us anything.
Of telling your members you can be comfortable with this.
So, Kate, I'll give you an example. The study that was out yesterday from Massachusetts, Dr. Osterholm said it's not worth the paper it's written on. I mean, my word's not his, but he's been on TV all day saying that that study doesn't say anything. So we want to read these studies.
I'm so sorry, Randy, to jump in. President Biden is coming to speak to reporters right now as he's leaving.
I cannot believe that AFT in their tweet left the part of the interview in where Randy just gets completely bigfooted by Biden coming to talk to reporters. Hilarious. Who is that anchor? I don't know who that is. She is being extremely thick, like I don't know if it's intentionally or what, but she's just basically saying, or she's just trying to be provocative and trying to get Randy to say something, which Randy would never criticize Democrats. It's not going to happen. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay, so that's it for today. They're going from 6 feet to 3 feet for. No, we'll tell you later why we're going from 6 feet to 3 feet. Don't worry about it. It's all good. And it's important to notice too, the person on there that was the doctor, Dr. Leanna Wen, she was very, 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 very spot on that. And I think like she said that we need to be assured of things before we make those changes from 6 feet to 3 feet. And CDC is no promises. I don't know. All right, everybody, I'm gonna get it going. But good Lord, I am furious now that I watched that. Oh my God. I'm gonna go ahead and send you off to Andrea's show, which is beginning right about now. Bye. See, by the way, before we say bye, go back and check out yesterday's show. It was a pre-record interview with a buddy of mine, Daniel. He is a member of the Democratic Socialist Labor Commission of the Democratic Socialist of America. We talked about at length about the PRO Act. We talked about the Amazon Union, and we talked about a couple other things. Check that out. Like this stream. Hit subscribe. We're getting closer and closer to 100 subscribers. Which is very, very cool. Yeah, like it. We are on Twitch. We're on all the stuff. So, all right, everybody. Bye.